Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. The double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who was well. Peace and salutation to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is a question asked by Elder Apostle Tahar, right? And the question that was asked was basically, how long do you think we have? Because Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC said recently that we have about 20 to 30 years, right? And before that, guerrilla Hebrew Alazar of formerly of Sakari, because he stepped down or stepped back, whatever he wants to say, he said that we had 1,000 years. All right, so Elder Pastor Hart asked the question of what we think. And through the spirit, we can, this is something that we can kind of, talk about, speculate on, because, we're men of the Lord, we're the hopeful elect, we're in the prophecies, but this scripture here says, Matthew 24:36 says, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. It says, but, all right, so look, it says no one knows the day of hour, right? That's the point. We don't. I can't say, oh, it's going to happen this date at that time, and then boom. I can't say that. But it says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So we can kind of get an understanding of the times that we're living in, right? And there's plenty of scriptures that talk about, measuring the times, and can you not tell the times that you're in, basically, even Ecclesiastes chapter, I believe it's 7, make sure it's 7, goes into a time and place for everything, right? You see Ecclesiastes 7. It's actually 3. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 goes into a time and place for everything. So we can kind of speculate and understand, the times that we're living in. It says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be left in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. It says 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left, right? So, basically, just like, everything was happening back when Noah was building an ark and people was out there laughing at them, mocking them, still dancing around, not knowing the times they're living in. Then the flood came and took them away. It's the same thing going to happen now. And we're living in that time, right? And we, the prophets, know and have been given a warning from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh through the spirit, according to the word of the times that we're living in, right? And many brothers do the same thing. Some brothers speculate, a year and a half. Some brothers speculate not too many tomorrows left. Some brothers speculate we'll see the end within Donald Trump's presidential office term, right? And that's us measuring the time diligently in itself. This is it says 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it's very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. It says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, the end is manifest. Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs, right? So we can speculate through wisdom and knowledge. The scriptures say wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. So we have to know the times that we're living in, and through us going into the prophecies and painting that out to, what's happening in the world, we're measuring the times and knowing that we're in the end, right? Even Esau himself knows the times that we're living in. This is Revelation 12:12. It says, therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, yes, I'm going to make you wait until the last video to give my answer. It says, therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So Esau Edom himself knows that he has but a short time, right? And that's why he's going to come down with great wrath. And let's check this video out here of kind of the thinking of Esau Edom. This is the assistant president, Elon Musk, talking about what he's talking about. Let's see what it says.
So did you know Pope Francis is the last Pope, and after that it will be the Judgment Day?
So it literally ends after Pope Francis?
Yeah. And this book in the Vatican archives, right, predicted every single pope from 1143 all the way to our current pope. But the scary thing is after Pope Francis, the last one, it just says Judgment Day. And the creepiest thing inside St. Paul's Basilica ordering the whole inner sanctuary is a picture of every single pope, right? But what's weird is that there's only a certain amount of markers where you can put the picture. There's just one left after Pope Francis. They've always said once that last slot is filled, it will be the end of the world. He predicted the time it took to go from the first.
Now, so I did some research on it, to see what was up. And even in this picture, you can kind of see there's another spot. Whatever the case may be, this is what they're saying, right? And it's talked about, but this is kind of refuted, or whatever they're talking about it, that, they don't know. But from what I could gather, information wise, what he's saying is kind of the case. There's really no space, but I you can go there and take a tour and all of that, which I can't do. So
one left after Pope Francis. They've always said one.
So it's some spaces over there. I looked on Google, there's some spaces over there, but they're saying that this is the last one. This is what the assistant president has seen, right?
Weird is that there's only a certain amount of markers where you can put the picture. There's just one left after Pope Francis. They've always said once that last slot is filled, it will be the end of the world. He predicted the time it took to go from the first pope that he wrote about to the halfway mark was 422 years. He's saying from the middle one to the end, another 422 years will be the end of the world. If you do 422 in the middle pope, which was 1,585, that year is 2027. It's even weirder. Pope John the 23rd, he said that the end of the world would happen 2,000 years plus Christ's life. So that adds up to 2027.
All right, and he says 2027 here, right? So I'm going to give my answer now. Then, I would say, I believe even before I heard Elder Apostle Tahar say it, I was saying roughly a year and a half to 2 years. I'm more on a year and a half now, and that we're in that time. It's counting down, right? So what he said kind of lines up with what the Spirit is saying, but I doubt that we'll see 2027. Lord willing, we're up out of here, 2025, the beginning of 2026. And on top of that, if you're measuring the time and looking at the scriptures, there's a lot that has to take place. We have to go through Jacob's trouble, right? So even if you're talking about, we got this amount of time, hey, during that amount of time, we're going to be doing Isaiah 4:1. We're going to be doing spiritual powers. We're going to be making merry and eating while everyone else is struggling, right? So that time frame ain't really going to be nothing. All happiness and goodness is about to befall, us, the elect Israelites, because, the more and more we get close towards the end, the more and more Yahweh is going to show himself, and help his hopeful elect, right? So, hey, that's that. So yeah, I'm on the mindset, of about a year and a half, whatnot. It could be this year, it could be next year. Hey, we're counting down the months. It could be 12 months, it could be 36 months, right? 48 months,
As well. Terrifying, isn't it?
Cardinals.
All right. So then they go into some other stuff. So you can check this video out. This is Jason A. Right now, Jason A page. Check them out. Some good videos laying towards the end. So I put up this article here. And what I'm doing in this video is measuring the times. I got a few videos and it's just measuring the times of what's happening. Right. I gave you my answer about a year and a half, and that could be cut short. And like I said, on top of that, there's a lot that needs to happen in this year and a half. And it is all good stuff for us. Being protected, shining bright, having food, being merry, laughing, many wives, and all of that. So, hey, come on with it. So the eerie legend of the portrait in St. Paul's outside walls. Now, this was posted 2022. I also looked up a few things over here on my tablet. How many popes were there? Have there been? And they said there's been, I guess this dude's 227, the new one that they just got. Leo, right? Pope Leo. And then it was like there's only enough spaces for 265 little circles that he was talking about. Right. So there's a lot of stuff they're talking about it, but end of the day, this dude said it, right? And once again, this is Jason A. He posted it. I believe this was the interview with Rogan, right? Things could be what is it AI and all of that shit. So you can fact check that. Anyway, we know what time we in, right? We in the end. All right. This is the eerie legend of the portraits of St. Paul outside wall. And you can go, figure out what they call it, all of that. It says this huge church has one of the most unique things in the whole city, the portraits of the popes. These portraits located high up on the side walls of the entire church represents all the popes in history. They start with St. Peter and end with Pope Francis. There are 266 portraits on the walls. These portraits are not small, and this gives you the idea of how big St. Paul Basilica is. Right, whatever the case may be. It says there are empty spaces on the wall for future portraits, but they are running out. The legend says that once the spaces for the portraits of the popes inside St. Paul's Basilica are finished, the church will cease to exist, and as a consequence, the world is doomed to end. At the moment, there are 26 spaces left. So this is posted in 22 whatnot. Hey, we got this new pope. This could be the last pope right here. Whatever the case may be. Hey, but that's Esau's thinking. This is the same dude that said, America is the new Rome, which is true, right? So he said some true stuff before, all right? Jeremiah 50 and 45. Going to the top, what it say? Prophecy against Babylon. Babylon the Great. What's the prophecy against Babylon, right? Measuring the times. Let's see what it says. Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon, right? And his purposes that he have proposed against the land of the Chaldeans, right? Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make the habitation desolate with them. So it's prophesied in the scriptures that the least of the flock, which are the JWOs, the 1948ers, the small hats over there in our land, the land of Israel, will draw out Babylon the Great to the third war's war. Right? It's prophesied in Ezekiel 38. You have Revelations 11 and 14 talking about the third woe. You have Joel 2 talking about the missiles, right?
We were just talking in the break how there's always something going on in the world, but in this part of the world, Israel continues to fight on multiple fronts. They still have hostages that they're trying to deal with. Capturing Gaza in the midst of all of this with the Houthis attacking their airport.
To bring you some breaking news, and we're hearing that Israeli and Houthi-affiliated media both saying that Israel has carried out airstrikes on the east of Hodeidah, and that's in Yemen. So what Israeli media are reporting is that 30 Israeli fighter jets carried out the attack. And this coming a day after the Houthis hit Israel's main international airport in Tel Aviv.
Except now with this situation where the Houthis or Ansarullah are saying that there is a different calculation here. And despite the fact they are already under fire, under Israeli and American airstrikes, they are still capable of launching
Israeli and American airstrikes. So here we go, measuring the times. Israel is drawing out Babylon the Great to the Middle East, the Levant region where World War III will take place.
the rockets, and this gives a kind of a picture of how much complicated this conflict is becoming.
Ali, the Israeli Prime Minister also, just about a day ago, after the missile strike from Yemen, promised to hit hard. And he said that Yemen, the Houthis, Ansarullah, would face the consequences, but that Iran would also face consequences from the strike.
The missile force of the Yemeni armed forces carried out a military operation.
There you go, Iran. So we're living in those times. We're living in the days right now, right? So we don't have long. A question could be, how long can World War III continue at the current state it is? So what you're telling me is that they're going to do World War III for 30 years? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me that they're going to continue World War III for 1,000 years? I don't think so. So that's that. Matthew 24 and 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right now, I was going to insert another video. You got Pakistan and India attacking each other, right? You got the Houthis, the Yemens, you got Russia, Ukraine, right? You got North Korea moving around. You got Taiwan and China, All these things are happening. It says, and ye shall hear of war and the rumors of war. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Right? All right, so I was going to grab that. What is this? It's Revelation 13 and 16. We know this breakdown. I got a breakdown on this. Well, this is going into the MOTB, the micro C hip. It says Revelation 13 and 16. And he, Babylon the Great, Esau, Edom, causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for his number of a man, and his number is 636. Right, and this goes into the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the micro C hip, the RFID chip, the digital device that will be implemented into your body.
Brain that allows him to control a computer. Now, it may sound like the stuff of science fiction, but a paralyzed man from Arizona has had a microchip implanted in his brain that allows him to control a computer with his thoughts. Nolan Arbor was injured in a diving accident, but now, after years of being totally dependent on others, Nolan says his life is transformed.
Welcome back, everyone. We've all seen movies like The Matrix, which show characters who can blur the line between man and machine. In our current reality, some are on the same journey, putting technology inside of their bodies with microchips. But how high are the risks, and what are the rewards? And what could this mean for our collective future?
In an instant, Nolan's life changed, and the most basic tasks were not doable.
This guy is very famous, Nolan, right? This is Elon Musk, whatever you want to call him, science experiment, right? Elon Musk has implemented micro C hips into this guy's body. This guy's able to play video games on computers and search the web and things like that. And from what I could know, he's still in the wheelchair, right? I haven't seen him walking, so.
Doable.
You just have sort of no control, no privacy, and it's hard. And you just have to learn that you have to rely on other people for everything.
But 8 years on, Nolan became the first person to get this brain device from Neuralink, a US neurotechnology firm whose founder is Elon Musk.
I just imagine the sensation or what it might look like to wiggle my fingers.
Right, every video I've seen is this guy in his wheelchair.
Something along those
And I don't know if me clicking that thing is pretty loud, Salakia.
lines, and I could get the cursor to move. Now I could actually control my computer with just my thoughts.
A handful of other companies have also developed and implanted similar chips. So how do these brain chips work?
The device is sitting in the motor region of the brain. It's picking up when someone's thinking about like tapping their fingers. It can create what we call a digital motor output. And that's what's being used with a computer directly to click on things.
Back in Arizona, Nolan hopes his brain power means a fulfilling future.
When you guys come together every year, what is the big wish list item that you all hope to one day?
Mom, MOTB, right? That's what that is. Plenty of videos on that. We're in those times, right? So saying things like 30 years, I mean, come on, bro. This is oop. I don't know what I have right here. I want to get this. Nothing. Beautiful. All right, this is Luke 21 and 25. It says, the return of Yahushua, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Draw nigh, right? Is right around the corner. Could be, really soon. Like I said, I believe, looking between the next year and a half, right? Just measuring the time with everything that's going on. But I will say, hey, even if that's not the case, which I would be extremely shocked if it wasn't. We can't make the Lord, do what He's going to do, right? We just got to wait. But measuring the times, through the Spirit, we're in those times, and the end is manifest. With that, I'll say shalom to the elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.